Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Entitled Parents Reddit video. In our first story, my daughter came home drunk. I blame the taxi driver. Let's jump right in. This is a situation my father had in 2013. He was a taxi driver for years, and after this happened, he immediately quit and became a truck driver. It was Saturday night. It was well past midnight, so already Sunday, around 3 a.m. My dad had just driven one person home when the dispatcher called him. 3:03 a.m., my dad receives the destination and fare. It's a disco club with two women, one of them Anna. My dad makes it to the entrance by 3:08 a.m. At 3:12 a.m., two girls enter my dad's car. Both are around 25 years old, and also, both are drunk as hell. Anna gives two addresses to my dad. First, her apartment building, then her friend's house. At 3:20 a.m., the car is at the first address. The other girl says that she has money to pay the full fare, so Anna leaves the car. She's very drunk and insecure on her feet. There's no light at the entrance to Anna's apartment building. My dad uses the headlamps of his car to shine light at the entrance of Anna's building, so that she can find the keys, open the door, and so on. This is a common practice among taxi drivers. Always make sure that a woman arrives at the destination safe and sound. At 3:25 a.m., the car leaves the first address and heads for the second. The car arrives at the second address at 3:32 a.m. In the meantime, the second girl has passed out. If it wasn't for the first stop, the total time to drive from the club to the second address would be less than 10 minutes, by the way, and it's relevant for the later events. At 3:33 a.m., my dad leaves his car, locks all the doors, and enters the courtyard. This is also a standard procedure. If your fare is unconscious, and even more so if the fare is a woman, do not touch her. If you are at her destination, call someone from there to pick her up and pay for the fare. If there's no one at the destination to help you with her, call the ambulance or police. So my dad knew that it was Saturday night and they were at a disco and had a lot of drinks, and he had no reason to call the emergency, at least not before he tries to get help from a family member. At 3:34 a.m., he rings the doorbell at the house. The father's girl opens the door at 3:36. "Who are you and what the hell are you doing here at this hour?" "I'm sorry to wake you up, sir, but I'm a taxi driver and I've just driven your daughter home." "My daughter? Where is she?" "She's in the car passed out. Please bring her in and put her to sleep. She'll be sober in a few hours." "But she's more than 1 hour late. She should have been here around 2. "Sir, I received the call from the disco club at around 3 a.m. I dropped her friend off along the way, and here I am now, with your daughter passed out in my car. Please, come to the car, bring her in, and put her to bed." The entitled parent just stands at the doorstep and looks accusing. "What did you do to her?" "Nothing. I drove her here, home to you. I'm a taxi driver. That's what I do." "But my daughter doesn't drink much. She would never allow herself to be so drunk as to pass out in a stranger's car." "Sir, she and her friend were already drunk when they entered my car at the club. And I'm not a stranger, I am a taxi driver." "She must have been given something." "Sir, I don't know anything about it. I received the call around 3 o'clock to pick up your daughter and her friend at the club. You should ask your daughter about it in the morning when she sobers up. Please, come and take your daughter out of my car and settle the fare. Tomorrow, you can speak to her and her friend who will confirm everything I said." "She called me around 1:30 and she didn't sound drunk at all. She told me she'd be home by 2, and 2 hours later, she's unconscious on your back seat." "I only received the call from the club at around 3 a.m., sir. You can ask your daughter tomorrow when she wakes up what happened at the club between 2 and 3 a.m., but right now, you should bring her in. I'm not allowed to have any physical contact with my fare, and she can't get out of the car by herself." "You're obviously lying because you're telling me you needed a half an hour to get here from the club." "What? I never said that." "Yes, you did. You said you picked up my daughter and Anna at 3 a.m., and now it's past 3:30. "I received a call from the club after 3 a.m. and picked them up at 3:10 or later. And I also dropped Anna off at her address along the way here. Sir, my car has a GPS tracker and you can check my locations at any given time during my shift. You can call my dispatcher and ask her for the timestamps. She'll send it to you first thing after I've made sure my fare has safely arrived at her destination. No, she hasn't safely arrived at the destination. She's unconscious on your back seat. Because she had too many drinks, sir, before she entered my vehicle. This is not my fault or responsibility. I would have helped her out myself if I could, but I am not allowed to touch my fare. As I said, my daughter would never have too many a drink by herself. I want to know what was given to her. Then bring your daughter in, put her to bed, and in a few hours, when she sobers up, ask her what happened at the club or in my car. Ask Anna and my dispatcher as well. But right now, I need your daughter out of my vehicle before she throws up or something. I'm not going to contaminate a possible crime scene. Sir, there is no crime scene in my car, only your daughter who needs help to get out of the vehicle and into her bed. She'll be fine after some sleep. She's not the first fare to pass out in my cab during the ride home. It happens, and it's not a big deal. The important thing is that she's home safe and that you can check the last 30 minutes of my shift if you want, with no problem whatsoever. Now please, help your daughter out of my car. I'm calling the police. Please do. 10 minutes later, there were 2 policemen at the door. In the meantime, the lovely daughter on the back seat of the cab made a huge mess all over the place. She emptied her bladder on the seat and threw up on the floor and back seat and all over herself. The police called my dad's dispatcher and in less than 1 minute established that my dad was totally innocent and that he did the right thing by asking the fare's father to help him with the passed out woman. The police then told the entitled father to bring the daughter in and then told him to leave my dad alone. The man was furious, but had to do what they told him. However, the story didn't end there. 2 days later, my dad's boss received the call from the entitled parent. The boss already knew what happened that night. I demand the fare I had to pay refunded, as I'm going to press charges against your driver. On what account, sir? For molesting my daughter. I've already spoken to my lawyer. Feel free to do that, sir. I hope your lawyer informed you of the fact that we have timestamps for the vehicle in question and that the entire case can fire back on you hard, sir. My daughter doesn't even remember that they called a taxi and that she ever entered your car. Your daughter's loss of memory is irrelevant, sir, as the video surveillance at the entrance to the club confirmed that your daughter willingly entered the vehicle with her friend at 3:12 a.m. on Sunday. And I'm sure you already know that your daughter's friend herself called our dispatcher from her mobile phone. My lawyer told me that your drivers are responsible for their fares and their well-being while they're in your cars. Exactly. And the only thing my driver did wrong was ringing at your door instead of calling the police immediately. He didn't want your daughter to spend the night in prison to sober up and wanted to avoid an embarrassing situation for her. So he made a mistake and asked you to help your daughter out of the car. I'm gonna sue your asses for this. Be my guest, as I already said. And, for the record, we're not going to refund the fare. We'll send you a fat invoice for the car cleaning services and for the 24-hour loss of our vehicle and fares we lost thereby. Indeed, it happened as announced by both parties. The entitled parent sued the company and lost epically. The company won, and the invoice at the end of the story was even fatter and now included legal costs and all possible fines the judge could add to it to teach the entitled parent an important lesson about responsibility and false accusations and disrespect. My dad decided to become a truck driver, as truck drivers never have to deal with drunk fares or entitled parents. This is John from Slashbash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to be the first to know when the next one drops, then subscribe and click on that notifications bell. I'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.